Howdy, everybody. Just setting my mug down. This was designed by my artist friend, Chloe. She sometimes appears in these live stream chats. Good meowing. It's delightful. I love it. Today's tea selection is Tazo glazed lemon loaf with a smidge of honey. All right. With all of that, hi, I'm Kelci. I make comics. Today, we're actually going to do an illustration. We're doing an illustrative work. This is for a little side project that I do called Kitties by Kelci, where I draw kitties by me, Kelci. So absolutely complicated, I'm sure. But we're going to be working on a piece that I worked on in a previous live stream, actually. Before we get into actually drawing anything, let me get into the pre-stream announcements. So every Tuesday and Saturday, I stream here on YouTube and Twitch simultaneously, at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If there's any changes to the upload schedule or anything like that, I usually announce it on my social medias like Instagram. To find everything that I do online, you can either check out my website, kelcydcrawford.com, or you can look at linktree/KelseyD. If you're watching this on YouTube, there's going to be links to a bunch of stuff that I mention in the doodly-doo. Let's see. Oh, I do make a webcomic called The Legend of Jamie Roberts. I have done live streams showing my work process for individual pages of that webcomic. But The Legend of Jamie Roberts is about a genderqueer pirate and their two best friends treasure hunting in a land full of dragons. We're partway through chapter 6 now, but everything is all archived on the site. You can check that out at thelegendofjamieroberts.com. If you would like to check out Kitties by Kelci, and I really should have prepped this part ahead of time. There we go. Okay. If you want to check out my little side project, Kitties by Kelci, which is what we're going to be drawing for today, you can just go to tinyurl.com/kittiesbykelci. That'll take you to my Redbubble shop. Now, the thing that I learned the hard way is that Redbubble does not allow you to change your store's URL. So if you click on the link and it takes you to a place called Brie Boutique, do not panic. That is the site. It used to go by Brie Boutique. Now it's just called Kitties by Kelci. If I ever get to a point where I can move the shop off Redbubble, I will be using Kitties by Kelci instead. But tinyurl.com/kittiesbykelci will take you directly to the Redbubble shop. There's stickers, there's socks, there's leggings, there's prints and scarves and all kinds of other things, and t-shirts, obviously t-shirts. Today's design that we're going to be working on today, wow, that's redundant. Today's design, I want it to serve a couple of different functions. The first being a puzzle art. Like, I want to make this piece of art into a puzzle. The second thing that I want this piece of art to do is serve as one of 12 illustrations going in my calendar. I would love to release a calendar for 2023 by the end of this year. So I'm low-key working on illustrations to make that happen. I already have like 9 illustrations lined up for this calendar project. They're mostly past works, so there's really only like 3 or 4 illustrations if I'm keeping it to just 12 months. But there's only like a handful of illustrations that I have to like make from scratch. This is one of them. With all of that, I'm going to have to open this piece. And this is going to be a bit of a chunk, so it's going to take a minute because I'm working at a really high dot per inch scale to make this thing. That is, there it is. I knew it was around here. Like I said, it's going to take a second. And there we go. Now, yes, this side project, Kitties by Kelci, does exist on Redbubble. I considered expanding into threadless as well, but I haven't made the decision yet whether I'm going to do threadless or not. All right. I'm going to need to pencil a few more things in. So, and I want to make sure that I'm working on the right layer. Looks like I will be. Oh, I had the blur tool. I was working on another project pre-stream, which involved an excessive use of the blur tool. So, okay. Let's do pencil. There we go. I actually have some more ideas for plants to draw for this scene because I work part-time at a local crafts store, stocking shelves, unloading truck, and all that jazz. And right now we have a lot of spring decor, and they decided this season that their spring decor is going to be plants. Lots of plants, all of them fake. Some of them are succulents, some of them are trees. A lot of them are just big. But because of all of the unpacking that I've had to do, I have a better idea of the kinds of plants that I want to draw for this. Which reminds me, wait. I'm actually going to delete that because a lot of this is kind of messy because some of these colors are guidelines. But I want to add a big old pot in the corner for a big old potted plant. But in order to do that, really the best way to go about doing that is to draw a circle on the floor and then build it up. Like so. And there we go. And I'm going to just increase the brush size for this pencil rather than going about it the hard way. So okay, those are going to be the stalks. You know, I wasn't expecting the Kitties by Kelci side project to turn into just cats as witches or witch-themed cat things or anything like that. And yet, there's a bunch of witch themes with all of these cats. The original intent with Kitties by Kelci was to just have an outlet to draw cats. I was actually inspired by another artist, goes by the name Cuddles and Rage. I first discovered them at Small Press Expo. They had this watercolor painting of, like, it was basically watercolor droplets with little cat faces drawn on them, but they were just the cutest little thing. And I was like, yes, I want to draw stuff like that. And then it morphed. The kitties originally started as more like a bubble like, and then eventually they started getting other features in order to make them easier to draw as witches. And now we're at this point. It's interesting the creative directions that one goes in when you start a little side project. And now there's a webcomic featuring some witch kitties. It's called PuzzleSpell. If you would like to read that, that is available on Ko-fi. Ko-fi.com/Kelci D. Crawford. Go to gallery, and that'll take you to PuzzleSpell Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3. If you're watching this on YouTube, links will also be in the doobly-doo. Switch it back over to the Linktree for a second. Okay, so we got that. Excellent. I'm going to save my progress, and I'm going to give it a minute because this is a large file. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that I won't have to open and close this program multiple times, because the last time that I worked on this, I had to do that because the tablet would just lose its pressure sensitivity memory. And the only way to reset it is to close the program and boot it back up. Okay. Okay, we're good. We're good so far. Yeah. Go ahead and erase that. Okay. Save the progress so far. I'll give it a second. And I'm going to check my reference folder because I have just an ever-growing folder on my hard drive for artistic references. I want to see if I've saved any crystals. I don't think I have. I think crystals are one of the things I have not saved references for. Considering how often I draw witch-themed things for Kitties by Kelci, though, I really should just have a folder for crystals. Yeah, I'm going to look this up. Okay. One of the more interesting geodes to draw is amethyst. Not just because of the vibrant purple color, but because it is very, very, like, just a picture a wad of crystals, like a crystal wad. Probably you are thinking of amethyst. Odds are pretty high. Okay. That's kooky. I went on right click save as, and it opened up a folder that I had not opened in over a year. And I'm like, wow, I'm not sure why it picked that, but okay. Okay. Oh, pyrite crystal would be a fun one to draw too. And I'll get all of these like shown in Clip Studio Paint once I get these images all saved up on my hard drive. There we go. Okay, so I got those two. Getting back in here. Okay, so this first one is amethyst, and the second one is pyrite. And I'm going to be using these to draw like crystal geodes that I want to put on the shelf. Now, to make this a little easier, I am going to cheat just a skosh. Right now, I have the original illustration set to an opacity of 25%. And I'm just going to draw the lines that stand out to me the most. The thing about geodes, crystal geodes, is that they are not going to be perfectly cut. So like these strange little angles that make it look like, oh, you can just take a gem. You want the gemstone? You just reach in there and you pluck it out. That's not how it works. Okay. I'm going to add a little hatching for some of the like base rock that's at the bottom there. You know, drawing in these crystals. At the craft store today, I had to reset a chunk of the wall that had all these like science kits because I was largely working in the kids section. It's the kids section that's being reorganized at the moment. The section that I was working in had a lot of science kits, and that included grow your own geodes, like grow your own crystals, which is interesting. And the other was like growing crystals in water, which is also interesting. There's kits for that. I don't know how well they work. They're from Discovery though, so they must work okay. I'm trying not to get too caught up in details here because I am still working on the main body of the illustration, and this is just going to be a detail that's going to be played around with to scale. Thankfully, though, like I know that this is going to have very different dots per inch compared to the file that I will be pasting this into. But this is going in the pencil layer. The pencil layer, it doesn't have to be super duper crisp for some of the things I'll be working with. The line work has to be crisp, like the inks. The inks on top of the pencils have to be crisp, but the pencil layer itself, it can be whatever quality that I want. All right, that works. All right, so we're going to name that layer, and we're going to copy it, and we are going to zoom out a bit. Okay, because I was like, I don't know where it's going to paste. And I'm actually going to flip that. There we go. And scale it down. Rotate a bit. Shrink it down a little bit further. And we're going to put it there. And I'm going to do the same thing with the pyrite and then situate the pyrite crystal behind that amethyst one. Save progress so far. And we're going to give it a second because this is a big file. The ideas behind Brie Boutique is not just because I wanted to draw cats. The original name was Brie Boutique, named after my cat Brie and my roommate's cat Boo Boo. Because I thought it would be cute to have a little project named after our two cats. They could be our muses, if you will. But then I was talking with a friend of mine who's very good at marketing. And they were like, I did not know that you were working on Kitties by Kelci. Or they said particularly, I did not know that you were working on this thing, Brie Boutique. But if you called it Kitties by Kelci, I know Kelci because your name is attached to a lot of the other stuff that you do. And if I saw that you were working on kitties, then I'd be like, oh, I didn't know that they were also working on that. I should check that out. And I'm like, you know what? That's a good point. So I changed the name from Brie Boutique to Kitties by Kelci to kind of tie in with that better. It's because I do attach my name to a lot of things. Obviously, I'm a comic artist by trade, so I put my name on the covers of pretty much all of the books that I work on. I autograph my name on things. It just makes more sense to call it Kitties by Kelci because nobody will really know what Brie Boutique is, but if they know my name Kelci and they see that it's kitties, that gets their attention more. Oh, hold on. We have reached the point. Okay. I was a bit concerned. I was like, do we need to close the program and boot it back up again? But we do not. Okay, pyrite. This is what this crystal is pyrite. This one already wildly different from amethyst because the geodes are all very blocky. And if you're sitting here being like, hey, this is cheating, you're not being a real artist. It's like, dude, I already drew all of this from scratch. Like, I'm just going to do this to make my life a little easier. when I get to the actual inking stage, that's when I will like go bananas. But this is just the rough pencil stage. Like, it doesn't have to be like, I'm not drawing a Rembrandt here. I am drawing a geode. And even then, Rembrandt also copied from things. Like, everybody tries to be all like, oh, the real artists were the Renaissance artists. And it's like, do you have any idea how many times they copied the Madonna? Like, that's pretty much 90% of their work is just copying the Madonna on repeat. Oh, thinking about this friend who helped me come up with the name Kitties by Kelci. The two of us talked about, our grievances with social media platforms. And the more that time passes by, the more that I'm really starting to understand what they meant when they said to me, I cannot express into words my utter hatred for TikTok. And now I kind of get it. Like, look, TikTok is great. It's fun. It can be funny. At the same time, the algorithm can be even more dangerous than Facebook. And the case in point is, look at how many cults have sprung up because TikTok makes it so much easier for really bad ideas to spread. It's also a really good way to just spread misinformation about certain mental health disorders, to the point where even people on Tumblr are, making fun of it casually. They're like, hey, how can you tell if you're on TikTok if somebody's like, your breathing is a example of how you live with post-traumatic stress disorder? And how can you tell that you're on Twitter? Oh, so-and-so got canceled because he said that child slave labor should be allowed. How can you tell when you're on Facebook? Somebody just shared something from QAnon. None of those things are inaccurate. Just makes it interesting as independent artist and kind of a small business owner, because I do freelance a lot. The struggle is not only knowing what social media platform is going to have the most eyeballs on it at any given time, it's also knowing when to jump ship. And I feel like that's something people don't talk about enough. At least not outside of Marie Forleo. Marie Forleo is one of the few people who's actually talked about, hey, I've left social media platforms. And I'm like, good on you, girl. Because bless the people who have good intentions when they try to give people advice when they're starting a business and all that. You don't have to be on every social media platform. You really don't. Just be on the ones that you like, that get you the most reach in your inner circle. That's really all you need to start. Now, I don't know if I've said this before, but I will say this now, and I will likely keep saying this until the day that I die. The best social media that you can invest your time and energy into is an email newsletter. And if anybody tries to tell you, no, email is dead, those people are lying and they're trying to sell you something. Like email newsletters are the reason why all of my Kickstarters are successful, because people who are subscribed on my email newsletter are the ones who back my Kickstarters. Now, there is a bit of a catch-22, though, sometimes, whenever you're like, well, how do I get email subscribers? Run a Kickstarter. How do I run a Kickstarter and get the most backers possible? Get an email newsletter going. So, like, there is a little bit of a catch-22 in that regard, but also, like, one of the easiest ways to get people on your email newsletter is to offer them free stuff. I have comic strips that are exclusive to email subscribers that I don't share on my website or on the legendofjamieroberts.com or any of that. Like, they're specific to my email newsletter. The email newsletter is also where I announce my convention appearances, if any are relevant. The last couple of years, I haven't had to do that. But any public appearances that I make, or any like podcast appearances that I make, or anything like that, I announce them on the email newsletter because it's just right there. But email newsletters are a great way to connect with peeps. And the nice thing about email newsletters too is that most of the time, I'll get into this caveat, most of the time you don't have to worry about the platform that you're using to send the email newsletter. You're not usually worried about them like doing something stupid like Facebook does on the daily. That said, if I can make a suggestion, as far as I am aware, MailerLite has not fixed a really big issue that I have with them. So maybe don't use MailChimp. MailChimp has not fixed one of the errors that I have a big grievance with. Because like what happened was, this is bad design from MailChimp, because I was going in and I was clearing out my email newsletter of people who were either inactive subscribers, meaning that they don't open any of my emails, or people who are just bots. Like, I was going in and I was clearing out emails to like clean that up a bit. And then I clicked on select all. What I did not know was, by clicking on select all, it selected all of my email subscribers on the list across multiple pages. Usually in a generic email inbox, when you click select all, it just selects everything on page 1, the page that you are looking at. But no, not with MailChimp. You click on select all, it means every single email on your newsletter, period. So I clicked on select all thinking it was going to be the former and not the latter, and I deleted it, and it deleted my entire email subscriber list. MailChimp did that to me. I lost like nearly 400 people. I was so mad. Like, absolutely distraught, because that took me years to build up to nearly 400 people. My email list currently is still not near those levels that it used to be. It's at about nearly half. But I would love if it could get back to 400 subscribers. I would love that. It's not there yet. If you would like to help boost those numbers, linktree/KelseyD. I share free comics on there and give announcements and let you know what's up and all that stuff. You also get to know when Kickstarters launch, and fairly soon, you'll be on the email newsletter anyway, the first to know when I've got new products available for pre-order, because I will be putting some products available for pre-order very soon. We're actually going to have this pyrite chunk be even smaller than. There we go. Oh, I'm going to save these, actually. I wasn't originally going to save these as clip files with the hand drawings over top of them, but I'm going to, just in case. Yeah, as far as I'm aware, MailChimp has not fixed this design error. I refuse to use them until or unless they fix it. I have since switched over to a email service called MailerLite, which for my purposes works just as fine, if not better. Now, it's not going to have like, you know, fancy schmancy CMS capabilities that MailChimp does. But I so much prefer MailerLite for everything that I do. Lurking while trapped at work. Yeah, I get that, Callie. I get that. So thank you for lurking while we're working. I don't know how long today's stream is going to be. There's a lot of stuff that there's a lot of plates that I've got spinning right now. Metaphorically speaking. I mean, it's not just Kitties by Kelci. And it's not just The Legend of Jamie Roberts either. Like, there's some editing work that I've got going on for 2 different projects. So, gonna need to take some time out of my day to do editing work on those 2 things. One thing I'm doing editing work for is a comics anthology. The other thing is a friend's prose and poetry collection that they put together, that I helped put together. Like, and I'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, there's some editing going on for that. The final rounds of edits for that prose and poetry collection. The comics anthology that I'm editing I'm just now starting to get scripts in for those, so I'll be taking some time out of my day to actually read them. And I still gotta make the lettered thumbnails for a short comic story for another anthology that's happening right now. And there's just a lot. Yesterday I had a little bit of a mini meltdown because I had so much going on, and then I had a coworker just basically talk over me, and I snapped a bit. That was not one of my best moments. I will admit that. Things are better. Things are better, but it's still. I don't like having meltdowns in public. That's just, the autism brain in me. Can I also just take a second to bitch right now that there's going to be updates to the DSM. I can't remember what DSM stands for off the top of my head right now, but the DSM is basically a manual for how psychiatrists and psychologists and people in the mental health profession diagnose people with certain disorders. And there's going to be a new iteration of the DSM that is changing how people are diagnosed with autism. And it's actually going to make things more difficult. And I am not a fan of this because I already have psych people looking at me and tell that to the person who diagnosed me when I was 4 years old. Thanks. Like, yes, I am autistic. I just happen to be higher functioning than most autistics that you picture because your examples come from Hollywood. It just makes me mad. It just makes me so mad. And if it's going to make autism more difficult to diagnose, that actually means there's going to be other mental health disorders that are going to be difficult to diagnose. So just letting you know, for anybody who has self-diagnosed in the past. Which, by the way, self-diagnosis just as valid as like a professional psych diagnosis. Sometimes more so, because after a point, people do know how their weird tics work better than the so-called professionals do. Anyway, thank you for coming to my TED Talk regarding that. Let's polish that up a little bit. And this up, and this, and over here. I do actually feel incredibly lucky that I did get an autism diagnosis, like at all, because I was diagnosed in the 90s when, female bodied people were either underdiagnosed or not diagnosed at all. Because even back then, people associated autism with the Y chromosome. Really, it can affect anybody. They just don't like to think about that because people associate autism with like people smashing their heads in the walls and being nonverbal, which is not how autism works for 90% of people. All right, so we got, ooh, I can add some candles. I'm going to add some candles. But like in one of the fancy, like, jar holder thingamadoos. Round base. Again, inspired by some of the stuff that I have unloaded at the craft store that I work at part-time. Let's widen the brush tip a bit. Just so I can do that. And then thin it down so that it can be done on the other side. I really probably shouldn't add so many details in here in this piece, because not everything is going to show in print form. And yet, this is my happy for today. So I'm going to indulge in that. Okay. I only have one shelf left to do pencils for. And then I was thinking about adding something on the floor, like a blanket or something, or an open book with a notepad next to it or something. And yet, I also might just leave it be, because the pattern in that rug is enough on its own. Or maybe I can put something under that bench. Oh, I do need to add some sideways books. Have a little tea tin here. Speaking of tea tins, I'll probably do some more jars of herbs on this here shelf. Okay, just making sure that the angle for the bottom of that jar was right. Oh no. I clicked away from the window while it was saving, and then I think that's one of the goofs. I think that's one of the goofs that it takes to make it lose all of its pressure sensitivity. Yep, that's exactly what it is. This is what I get for not thinking. All right, we're going to have to close that program, and we're going to have to boot it back up. I'm going to give it a sec. What do your elf eyes see, Boo-Boo? Boo-Boo is watching something really intently out the window. Here we go. Okay. Of course, StreamYard did not fix that, so we're going to reconnect some things. Here we go. Just going to make sure that everything is working like it should. It looks like it is. That's good. All right. Might just put a wood crate down there, but I don't know what to fill the wood crate with. Maybe some spare robes. Yeah. Oh, excuse me. Okay. Ooh, this should make life a little easier with creating a variety of jars. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a master jar. This is going somewhere. Bear with me. Okay. We are going to select that jar. I'm going to move it. I'm going to copy paste and move that copy over. Oh, I copied the line that I did not need it to, but we fixed it. Okay. And then we are going to free transform this thing. Let's make it skinny. A little taller. Yeah, there we go. And we're going to arrange that in the back. Boom. Done. Okay. Got that. Paste. Move it over. Oh, I forgot. Here, we're going to use the lasso tool and we're going to copy and then free transform. And let's make this one short and a little wider. And we're going to arrange that in front of the tall, skinny one. Boom. I forgot to merge these jars down to the layer that they copied from. I want to do that, which is just Control E. Control E. There we go. Paste. Whoa. And I'm actually going to use the rectangle tool this time. The rectangle marquee, I should say. Mesh transform. Let's get you wide. And keep you the same height this time. But make you wide. And put you in the back. Oh, this is so much faster doing it this way. All right. Merge that down, which is just Control E. Paste. And let's make this one short and skinny. Free transform. Yeah. Perfect. Save our progress so far and not click away. Because clicking away is bad. Okay. Baby? What you doing, baby? This cat. Oh, don't you dare. That's Bree's num-nums. These two cats have gotten into the habit of eating each other's food, even though they really shouldn't. Because Bree is on a senior diet, Boo Boo is on a sensitive skin diet, and while the two food formulas are kind of close to each other, that does not mean that they are the same thing. Okay. This one. Let's make it even wider. And shorter. Yes. Once I get to inking everything in, it's going to look a lot more polished than this, but this is good. Okay. Merge that down, paste, Move that over, and we'll put you back here. Ish. Yeah. I'm not going to transform that one. Our jar shelf is filling up quite nicely with this method. Paste. And we'll put you back here. Let's shorten you down a bit, actually. Ooh, just straight up scale for that one. We'll move this one over to here so it can sit in front of the other one. And we are going to free transform it. Make it about that. Yeah. And I'll just straight up scale this one. Okay. And we'll draw a book over here. The reference for what all of these jars are. And there we go. All of the shelves are now filled in. Huzzah. Save our progress. Not click away. Okay. Oh, I don't remember this layer. Oh, now I do. Okay. That was my lighting notes. Now to draw something under that bench or to leave that empty. Could make that floor hardwood, and then that would fill in the gaps. I think I'll just do that. For the hardwood floor, I'll draw that in green in the rough pencil. I'm going to rotate the canvas a bit just to make this a little easier on how my hand naturally draws. Okay. There we go. Okay, we're going to turn that blue layer off and see how this looks. Yeah, just making it straight up hardwood helped fill in the gaps. Draw the little slats. Because again, this is going to be serving two purposes. It's going to be puzzle art and it's going to be calendar art. And as far as puzzles go, I really like detailed puzzles, but I also really like puzzles that when you're done with them, they look like they could be pieces of art that you hang on your wall. That's my personal preference. So that's how I approach my puzzle designing. Not just to fill it with knickknacks, but to fill it with things that would make it look like an actually pleasing illustrative piece. Speaking as somebody who had to reorganize all of the puzzles in the kids section yesterday, I can tell you right now that half of the puzzles that I looked at looked great. The other half looked awful. Like the kinds of things that like they put it all together just to say, hey, look at how complicated this is. Wouldn't this be fun to try to solve as the puzzle goes? Not an actually good piece of art. All right, so we got the pencils pretty much figured out. And our progress is saved. So we are going to collapse the pencils folder because that was a lot of layers that made up the pencil folder. And then we will put that folder of pencils at 50% and begin our inking. And to do that, let us first get the bookshelf figured out. That line needs to be thicker. Let's go with 20 thickness. It's better. Again, I'm working in really high DPI, so the higher that your dots per inch scale is on a piece, the larger your brush has to be to get certain brush strokes down. Hot tip for anybody who wants to work with that sort of thing. And I need to pause for a second because nature calls. So there's a thing. I'm just going to have it say BRB. Bear with me. Okay. Back at it. Mm-hmm. I almost forgot to plant a little digital tree through the Forest app to keep me off my phone. But also I just like to have it running in the background while I'm streaming so that it grows a little digital forest while I'm keeping myself busy doing this stuff. Okay, so we got the base figured out. Okay. Thinking of the next lines to make. Okay. I'm just going to call this the rectangles layer. Okay, we're working at 30. So get into rectangles, brush size 30. Done. Because this is the easiest way to get the perpendicular lines that I want for the bookshelf. Boom. Okay. Okay. And this. Okay. And those are good places to start. And with the marquee, I'm going to do polyline because that can help with making straight lines, but I don't need it to be a perfect rectangle. There we go. Okay. I'm going to merge that down. Back to the straight line tool. That's why I flipped the canvas, because I was like, is that right? This looks a little more correct to me. Okay. Back to the polyline tool so that I can select the biggest swath. Delete. Hoping to get the big general shapes done before I wrap up this stream. This is going to be one of the shorter streams that I do. I'm thinking I'm going to wrap it up at about 3:30. Because again, lots of spinning plates. I got a lot of other things that are going to occupy my time today. But it is nice to just work on this and chill. Okay. To get the shelves, here's what I'm going to do. First, tidy this line up. Second, zoom out. Third, make a new layer. Okay, and this is what I will do. Go back to the line tools, make a rectangle, and get the marquee, rectangle, and free transform. Yes. That that is the secret. Huh, good. Okay. Now to help differentiate, I was about ready to mash those two words together. I will save the shelves line at a higher opacity than the general inks. There we go. Now I can tell the difference. Free transform. I might need to shrink this one. Yeah. See, that's the nice thing about free transform. Okay, so this is about where I want it. Over here, though. Narrow that down a skosh. Oh, a little too far. Okay. How will that work relative to the other shelf? Fairly okay. All right, we'll do that. We'll give it a sec because this is a lot of data. Honestly, though, this is saving me a lot of headache. Done. And marquee tool again. Select what we need. Free transform. I'll have to edit that shelf above the one that I'm currently working in. But that's okay. All right. That will work for that one. Okay. I'm actually going to go back into the inks layer to do a thing. I want to do a thing. Hit the pen. I'm going to say about here-ish. Hit shift and okay. Somewhat perpendicular. There we go. There. And that can be my guideline for where the edge of the bookshelf needs to be. Save so far. We're going to give it a second. Save your work and save it often, kids. That was the last of my tea. Okay. I'll get to the little shelf with the little madam in just a minute. I'm doing the bookcase first. Okay. Doot and free transform. Scooch a bit more. There's that. Narrow that a tinge. Top bar too. Bottom a little bit more. A little bit more. Ah. Top a scooch. And that's about where... This is the first I'll have to manipulate the other end. All right. I was used to manipulating just the farthest edge, but here we go. Oh, and that gets me the line for the front bar of the window seat. Save progress so far. I was about ready to sip my tea again, and then I don't have any, and that makes me sad. Itching the head. Got to build the bridge for this one. Because my thoughts are an interconnected series of bridges. So scratching the head made me think of the hat on my head, made me think of just knitting, because I knitted this hat. I knitted a bunch of accessories with this rainbow yarn. Like, I knitted a sweater, because what else am I going to do? But I knitted a sweater. I knitted a pair of socks. I knitted this hat. And I still have yarn left over, so I'm going to knit myself a neck gaiter. Just have all of the rainbow accessories. I thought I only had enough yarn to make a sweater, and then it just turns out that I had enough yarn for a sweater, a hat, a pair of socks, and now a neck gaiter. Lord knows there will probably be even more yarn after this. Oh, whoops. It was the marquee tool still. Go back to line so that I can do this. Doesn't need to be that tall. This needs to be accommodating to the shelf. Let's err on the side of wider. The free transform tool, you can narrow it down a smidge. Free transform. Well, that just about takes care of that top line. For a multitude of facets, actually. Okay. Oh, there's a bit of lag going on with the Clip Studio at the moment. Okay. Oh dear. Oh dear. Okay. I think I got it now. There's just so much going on in this program. It's because the dots per inch scale for this is so large. In Clip Studio, it can work that large at like a super high dots per inch, though I do recommend that if you do work at a really high scale dots per inch, that you keep the actual canvas size small, because this is both a large canvas and 1,000 dots per inch, which I would not recommend if you're just making things super casually. If you're just working with like super casual art for like posting on Instagram or something, you can keep it at like 144 dots per inch. Or like 300 max, because like 300 is like the baseline minimum for printing things. Just letting you know. But right now I'm working at 1000 because that's the scale Redbubble prefers. Though I will say, saving things at 1000 dots per inch on a really large scale does make it easier to scale that piece up and down for whatever purpose that you need it for. Okay, that should, yes, that'll work. Hit OK, and we give it a second to process because this was a lot. Oh my gosh. Okay. Start a new layer, and we'll put the shelves at about 50. I'm going to name this layer Shelf Perp for the perpendicular lines of the shelves. Bonk. And this is going to get me the edging that I want. Boop. And just to make sure that everything's all hunky-dory over on this end, because I just kind of free-handed that one line. Oh, my freehand actually did a pretty decent job. Nice. I am going to make it a little wider, though. There we go. Okay. Now to erase some of these lines. Get the marquee tool back so I can get polyline. Delete that edge. Delete that edge. This is why I have these various lines set to different opacities so that I know what layer I am working on. Because otherwise, this could get really messy really fast. Okay. So we got shelf perp there. Shelves. Okay. Oh, hold on. I think I deleted more lines than I needed to. There we go. Just hit undo until I get back to the point where I last left off. Ooh. Okay. Canvas did a thing. Okay. Ooh. Let's actually change the opacities again. Base inks, 100. Shelves, 51. Shelf perpendicular, 25. That's better. Yeah. Because now I know what lines I used for the original bookcase. Save progress so far. Okay. All right, then I'm going to delete some of these lines to polish it up a little bit. And then I'm going to wrap up the stream. So, okay, shelf perpendicular lines. Good. And then down here. Delete those. Down here. Delete those. And cool. That takes care of that. The lines on the shelf perpendicular don't need to be under the main shelf lines, so we're going to delete those. Okay. Who is texting me? Oh, nobody important. I mean, it's a political thing, but it's not anybody important. Okay. Okay. Ooh, let me turn off the shelf layer. Got it. All right, we're going to bring that shelf perpendicular layer down, move it back to 100%, and we're going to merge it down with inks. Now the shelves, still at 51% opacity. We're going to select this area and delete. And that clears that out. Excellent. Base inks. Use the polyline tool for this one. Oops. I double tapped. I do not need to double tap until I am done. Okay. Delete those and there. And done. I'll need to edit the lines for these top shelves over here. But yeah, we're at a good place. We're at a good place so far. And then I realized I deleted the lines for that front part of the bench here, and I did not need to do that. Let me fix that. I can fix that. Okay, put that ink layer at about 43%. Bench front. You and boot. Marquee, rectangle, select, free transform. There. That's what's needed. Huzzah. Fixed. Mostly. Hold on. Straight line. There. Okay. Done. Okay. Oh, right. I can erase this because that line is not needed. I was about ready to merge. I'm glad that I caught that before I did. Okay. Save progress. And yeah, I think there, we're going to call it for now. We're going to call it for now. Took a second to catch up on comments. Yes, I angered the studio for a minute, but we are okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to keep this stream short today because there's a lot of other plates that are spinning, so to speak, and I want to make sure that I get to those and take care of that. That said, I will be streaming again Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Same channels, YouTube and Twitch. And the things I will be drawing are comics and himbos. I may come back to the Kitties by Kelci design, which you just watched me draw. But this Saturday will be more comics and more himbos. My goal with the himbos is to draw them all and put them into a zine and get that zine done in time for Rathacon, which this segues into my post-stream announcements. I will be going to Rathacon April 9th. It's a pretty much all-day affair. It starts at 10 a.m. That said, safety guidelines are in effect, and that means, yes, there is a mask policy at Rathacon. But if you're in the area of Athens, Ohio, and you want to go in person to Rathacon and see me there, April 9th starts at 10 a.m. It's a pretty much all-day affair. I will be there. My buddy Ben will also be there. A bunch of us are going to be there. So I hope to see you there. I'm also hoping to debut a few other things. Speaking of debuts, some products will be going on pre-order soon. If you would like more information about product pre-orders, sign up for my email through my link tree. My link tree has an email newsletter link. Click on that. The email peeps are going to get an update this Friday on new products that I will be putting up for pre-order. Spoilers, it's a lot of Dragon Baby related things. So check out linktree/KelseyD and click on the email sign up link for more info. The Legend of Jamie Roberts New page drops tomorrow. If you would like to read that, or if you would like to catch up on the story so far, go to thelegendofjamieroberts.com for all of your genderqueer pirate adventure goodness, and also a lot of dragons and monsters and magic and things. There we go. And I'm looking at my little thing of links here for more post-stream announcement stuff. For folks who are in my Sticker of the Month club, stickers are printed. Cards. I was going to say letters. Cards are all formatted. I just have to actually write out the thank yous, because folks who are part of the Sticker of the Month club get custom handwritten thank you notes each month with their stickers. If you would like to know more about that or to sign up, go to patreon.com/KelciDStickers and sign up. You can sign up for as little as $1 a month. $1 a month gets you the right to vote on sticker designs for each month and access to my Tiny Dinos Discord server. The Discord server is actually pretty chill. Highly recommend. $10 a month gets you actual stickers and thank you notes mailed to you each month. If you have the means and you liked what you saw, consider leaving a tip on Ko-fi, kofi.com/KelseyDCrawford. I'm also going to look into, because Ko-fi does allow for memberships, kind of like what Patreon does. So I'm considering offering the Sticker of the Month Club level on Ko-fi as well as Patreon. Let me know in the comments if that's something that you would like to see. I know that there are some people who don't want to be on Patreon for any reason, and I totally respect that. For the longest time, I deactivated my Patreon account because of some issues that I had with them. But that's a story. I could talk about that in a separate stream. But kofi.com/KelseyDCrawford if you would like to leave a tip of any amount, but $10 a month, because you can give one time or you can give monthly. $10 a month will get you into the Sticker of the Month Club. And also you can download The Legend of Azumi, a comic, for free at tinyurl.com/TLOAM. With that, I think that's all the announcements that I have at the moment. So see you Saturday, hopefully. Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Same channels. Obligatory YouTube things. If you liked what you saw, hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to see more. Do all the things. Because the algorithm likes that sort of thing. If you're watching this on Twitch, thank you. I'm not really a Twitch partner, so just do with that what you will. And if you're watching this elsewhere, neat. I can think of a couple other places, including my blog, that you might be watching this on. Now, for real, that's all I've got. Thank y'all so much for watching. I will see you Saturday, hopefully, 2 p.m., same channels. Take care of yourselves. Drink a glass of water if you haven't done that yet. Take a deep breath. You are awesome.